The crystalline grid is the grid work around the earth. I addressed this in my most recent live. And if you are feeling called to work with it, if your higher self, your guidance, your inner feeling is that is my part of my work, then that inner calling will prompt you to work with the grid. Here, the thing is, it's very internal in a sense. It is very much a part of who we are as multidimensional human beings. Our DNA is crystalline in nature. Our makeup is crystalline in nature. And as we move into our multidimensional beingness more and more, we are exuding more of that crystalline expression of our physicality. And so as we do that, we are actually kind of like a walking expression of grid work. And so how we interact with the fractals and geometries of this experience of life is part of our grid work. But another really powerful part of the way you can consciously work with that grid work is by tuning in. First of all, you want to tune into yourself and tune into the earth and really open up from the heart center and listen and ask your guidance, how would you like me to work with the crystalline grid? And it could be slightly different for everyone. When I was in my early 20s in Hawaii, and I had a teacher, Donna Sumaria was her name. She's deceased now. Still around nevertheless, but she did a grid work group that I was a part of, and we would get together and we would really tune into the energy, tune into the grid around the earth, and then send energy to various places that were in need of it. And that was the type of grid work we were doing. That is just one type. There are also ways you can work with it. Again, with your guidance, the higher dimensionals will come and get me sometimes and show me, okay, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're working on. The more you do this, the more you work with the grid work and bring, we're really fortifying the light around it. I addressed that in my most recent live. It's really about bringing more light, allowing the grid work to hold more light, and then fortifying that so that we can have this 5D or higher expression experience, the new earth consciousness. So I really want to encourage you to tune into your heart, tune into your own internal grid work, and then express from there, because we are all unique in our makeup. We are all unique in our geometry, in our expression of that. And so part of the grid work is just becoming aware of that, tuning into it, and allowing yourself to sort of emulate, exude that from your beingness as you walk. Then every step you take and everything you do, even every thought you think, is an expression of grid work. In the physicality, you can simply go out and make, like Louise Matson talked about making grid work with her acorns, or have a little altar in your house where you do it with crystals. But I'm really talking about tuning into your inner grid work and working from there. And so as I was contemplating on that earlier this morning, what I saw was, this is a really cool vision, and I really want to share it in a way that's understandable. And I haven't totally fully processed it myself yet. But what I saw was the pineal gland as a seed. So you think of it as a seed of light or seed of consciousness. It's kind of like the seed that contains the expression or the possibility of enlightenment within it, but it has to be germinated. It has to be touched by inspiration and woken up from its dormant state in order to express and open. And so in my vision this morning, I saw that the pineal gland, the third eye center, which is kind of like right in the middle toward the back of your head, inside your brain. That pineal gland, it's full of little crystals. It's full of little teeny tiny crystals that when they're touched with light or with energy or with the liquid that's inside of your pineal gland, they're agitated in a way that has you really spiritually activate. That's why a lot of breath work is designed to activate the pineal gland. There are lots of things you can do for this, but I would say the most important thing you can do is to be aware of it and focus your attention on it as not the whole, but as one piece of the whole in becoming more awake and aware of your spiritual beingness. So what I want to share is my vision that I had this morning. First, I saw that pineal gland. It's like a dormant seed. And then I saw it as the bud of a lotus flower. And then I saw the central sun. So a lot of times when I guide an opening to a meditation, I'll have you first tune into the central sun 200 feet above your head. Now, it's not really 200 feet above your head. That's just something I put in place for you to have a way of imagining this bright, bright light at the center of our universe, 200 feet above your head, and then bringing the light of that. And that is a divine masculine expression. And the divine masculine is the same as the inspiration or the seed. If you think of it as the sperm that unites with the egg, that brings life into being. So you can think of it as the divine masculine 200 feet above your head, bringing that light. And I saw a picture of this. The light comes down through the crown into the pineal gland. And in that pineal gland, it's like the pineal gland then becomes the egg. The conception takes place in the pineal gland. So the light of the central sun penetrates into the pineal gland. And I believe this can also happen through your eyes, through sun gazing, which I do a lot of. But it comes in, this is my vision this morning, into the pineal gland, activates it with inspiration and causes it to turn on or to wake up, in a sense, to wake up with life, wake up with awareness, a higher level of consciousness of being. And then that brings it grows a root from there. So the seed germinates, it becomes alive, it becomes awake. And I saw a root going down into the heart center. And from here, this is the heart awakening. And what I saw there was it was like this root going into the heart center, and the heart center opening up as the lotus flower, fully opening or opening to whatever level of awareness you're ready for. So the central sun penetrates the crown, moves into the pineal gland, activates the seed moves into the heart, becomes the flower. The infinitely petaled lotus flower begins to open, and our awareness begins to open, and we become activated both in heart and mind. And then from there, I saw that lotus flower growing a root, which tapped into and anchored into the base of the spine. This is almost like a reverse Kundalini activation because it's coming from above, right? And usually Kundalini activation starts from the base of the spine and moves up. But this is coming from the divine or the experience or expression, belief, idea of the divine as if it was coming from outside of us, from above, divine inspiration so now we're anchoring that root into the base of the spine. And that is also the sexual organs, all of that area at the base of the spine and even the second center. So we're anchoring that root. We become even more, that's where we become physically activated, anchored into the body. That is the embodiment of the experience of this divine awakening. And then from there, that anchor at the base of the spine, that root that's tapped in there, actually grows out moves out from the base of the spine and then penetrates into the center of the earth. And this is the divine feminine expression, the heart of the Mother Earth. And you can imagine it as the heart of the center of the earth receiving the anchoring of light that is your awakening. And so that anchors into the center of the earth. There is also a crystal pyramid in the center of the earth, in the heart of the Mother Earth. We anchor our light into that crystalline pyramid at the heart of the center of the earth, and allow that that communication then to go from the divine feminine, which is the heart of the earth, to the divine masculine, which is the central sun above us. And then we are the receiver of the divine, the communion, the interaction, the twin flame, the expression of divine feminine and divine masculine coming together. And in that experience, we awaken. So this was my vision that I had just a little bit ago when I tuned in and asked, how can I share with people in the best way how to do grid work? Well, this isn't the question, this isn't the answer I was expecting, right? That I was going to see something very specific about how to place your crystals or how to work with the lines above the earth. Instead, I got how to become a part, an activated piece of the grid work, so that every step that you take, every move that you make, every thought that you think, every feeling that you emote is doing that grid work, because you are a crystalline, activated, enlightened, awakened expression of the crystalline grid in your being, embodied in this body, in this human expression of divine. So I will be diving into that definitely in my membership. I think my next membership call will be all about that. I'm also going to be entering this training as it opens up and unfolds. Usually it starts with the vision, and then I start to get more and more downloads around the truth, like the opening up, the meaning, the essence and the body of work. That's a vision that's very powerful, and there's a body of work that will go with it. And so I'm going to be adding that in to Ascension Training going forward. And we dive heavily into so many concepts from, just activating and embodying the light of the divine within this being and becoming multidimensional and doing grid work and galactic shamanism. But also, all along the way, it's also about our humanity, about expressing and entering through the heart so that we can operate through kindness and love and not just the mind. And the pineal activation is great, but unless it's partnered with the heart, it's mental. It's not always based in love. And so all of these things are concepts that we dive into in the membership and in Ascension Training. And this is my work, this is what I do. And I absolutely love sharing it with all of you. So just notice, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're feeling, what's going on with you multidimensionally, and pay attention to those things. The more you focus on them, the more your awareness grows. And then the more of those experiences you have and you receive and you can interact with. And that's the really fun part of being a multidimensional human. We get to play in these realms and open up and continue to just expand from there. But I'm going to end there. I thank you all for watching. I thank you all for tuning in and for being part of the summit and being part of this community. I love you all so much. Namaste.